This has massive implications for the Toronto Maple Leafs, as it is official. Matt Murray has been called up, but in the midst of all of that, we have a very interesting update surrounding Auston Matthews. We're going to break down what that update is and what he had to say about his injuries. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, quick reminder, hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the 71% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Leafs content. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. If you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit that button. But Darius, the Leafs are on the first night tonight of a back-to-back, and we will be live following tonight's game. So make sure you stay tuned for that and tune into that later. But Darius, there's some things going around. Now, we made a video yesterday on the Matt Murray front, and that move has been officially officially finalized. And we'll dive into all that as well as the lines, but we'll start with this. And we also have an interesting Auston Matthews update to kind of, it's very intriguing. But Dennis Hildeby has been assigned to the Toronto Marlies, and Matt Murray has been recalled from the Toronto Marlies. So it is official. Elliot Friedman is right on the money, as he always is. Dennis Hildeby has been officially sent down. And as a result, Matt Murray has been called up, and he will be playing in tonight's game. So it's going to be very interesting here. Maybe we thought Joseph Wall was going to be starting tonight's game. It's actually going to be Matt Murray, and it's been 628 days, almost 2 years since his last NHL regular season start. So Darius, Leafs have made some moves here, and it's very intriguing that they chose tonight to start Matt Murray as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot that's going into this as well because they wouldn't have been able to make this move if it wasn't for the roster freeze that took place this morning. So, because of that, because of the holiday season, they were able to make this transaction, and Matt Murray will be with the Leafs. The one thing that is pretty interesting is he's gonna have to play at least 10 games, or he's gonna have to go through waivers, which I think he probably maybe might end up playing 10 games, right? Because obviously they still have a busy schedule to end this month. They're gonna have a busy-ish schedule in January, and obviously I don't think Stolarz is gonna come back until closer to February. So I think that's pretty interesting. But the Leafs have been pretty bad on the road so far this season. Really good at home. So they give Joseph Woll a home start tomorrow night against the Islanders. And then tonight it's Matt Murray. See what he can do. They got him a start on Wednesday. He obviously got a shutout with the Marlies. When he is healthy, he has played fantastic for the Leafs. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. And I think that's going to be a big factor coming into tonight's game. How does the team play in front of him? And how does he play, obviously? Because when he's played with the Leafs, with the Marlies, he's looked good when he's been healthy. So said he's feeling good and ready to go and ready to see him go.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the roster freeze, a bunch of different things going on that makes tonight's game obviously interesting. And if they, did like they've been doing all year, the Toronto Maple Leafs, a bunch of interesting, whether it's cap moves, whether it's moves, calling a bunch of people up when you just utilizing the injured reserve list. I mean, Yanni Hakanpää still is on the IR, retroactive to ages ago, it seems like. So a bunch of different ways that they're doing it. In case you're curious, you can feel free to pause and read this. This is kind of how they were able to pull this off. I'm not going to go into it too in depth, but again, a roster freeze because of the holidays has allowed them to recall Matt Murray. So great. You never want to see an injury, but if you were going to get injured, Anthony Stolarz, it's pretty good timing regarding they can, getting Dennis Hildeby down and, of course, Matt Murray up, which would typically mean Hildeby would not be permitted to be sent down because he's on an active roster. However, additional clause. So a bunch of cool ways to do that. But I want to focus on Auston Matthews now because he has been, we've mentioned it briefly. We've had people in the chat on our streams mention how it seems like Auston Matthews is dealing with some sort of ailment and injury. And Berube spoke out of Matthews that it's tough. He's fighting through it, and he's doing a pretty good job out there on the ice. He's producing and playing hard and working, and we just got to it'll get better. We just got to manage it, and that's why he's off today. I keep saying management because I'm thinking about Brad Living, but you're looking at it from Auston Matthews. So we were kind of people, you kind of tell when he's playing, he's not 100% healthy. He's working through it. He's dealing with something is nagging at him, so they're going to give him as much rest as possible. But he's still going to factor into all these games here. But Darius, I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. If you noticed anything while he was playing, his lack of aggressiveness at times, shooting a lot less than he was last year, and he missed a lot of time earlier in the season. Obviously, it's unfortunate to see they're still dealing with something, but it's pretty expected given kind of not his lack of production, but something. It looks like he's battling something out there.
Well, there is a lack of production too. And when
True.
you look at his, just the eye test, forget the analytics, obviously his stats this season. When you look at him out there, he's not playing like we know he can. If you look at, games last year or whatever, right? He's not playing the way we know he can. That is a little bit weird to me. I was under the assumption that, after he came back from Germany, he was 100%. That's the reason he came back into the lineup. He said he was feeling good and everything kind of calmed down. So I was under the assumption that he is 100%, but it doesn't seem that way because clearly Craig Berube coming out today and saying, hey, he's still dealing with something, and we're just going to manage it, I guess, for the rest of the season. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's a little concerning to me if you're a Leafs fan because What is it that he's dealing with? Why is he still dealing with it? Is he going to have to deal with it for the rest of the season into the playoffs? Is that going to affect his play in the playoffs? Because he hasn't looked fantastic so far this year, but he hasn't looked, egregiously bad or anything like that either. And I also personally, we talked about on a recent stream that a lot of people were saying he's not 100%. He's clearly still injured. And I was saying, you know what? I think I'm just going to chalk this up to him maybe dedicating himself more to the 200-foot game. Maybe he's not going to score 70 goals this year, but the Leafs are probably going to win more games and they might find success in the playoffs because he's changing the way he plays. So that's kind of what I thought it was. But it is true at times, I'll watch a game and I'll go, you know what? Why isn't he going into the corner, full speed like he normally would and take the puck off somebody? So I think there is some hesitation in his game this year more so than other years because I guess he is battling something. So to me, that's a little worrisome that Craig Berube would just float that out there that, I think we all thought he came back. He was 100%. They dealt with whatever that was. And now in saying this, it's like, okay, what's he dealing with and how long is he going to deal with this for? Is this going to affect, them later in the season in the playoffs? I would be a little bit worried about this.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning. And I mean, his production hasn't been the same as it has been, especially last year, but even in previous years in general now, whether that's his injury, Craig Berube's style of play, he's playing way better defensively. We've seen him on the PK a lot this year as well. He's doing a great job there. So he's doing other things that help contribute to winning. And ultimately, the Leafs are a top 10 team in the NHL. They're playing very well. They're at the top of their conference in the Atlantic. And they're playing great hockey and sustainable hockey. And ultimately, if he can get back to where he once was, even as recent as last season, his best season of his career goal scoring wise, especially, the Leafs will be a very scary team. But as you look into the lines for tonight's game, and of course, Connor Dewar is just factoring in there for Auston Matthews, who's taking a break. Auston Matthews will be in the lineup in all likelihood tonight. So Nylander, Matthews, and Marner. So they're rocking back that exact same top line that we thought looked not phenomenal last game. And also, Craig Berube came out after the game and said it didn't look great. Nyes, Tavares, Pacioretty, the same second line. McMahon, Holmberg, Robertson, it's all the same. That looked really, really good in the last game, specifically regarding that third line and fourth line. And hopefully Robo can continue going. Bobby McMahon, that third line looked great. Even Max Domi starting to play way better, playing that center position. And an interesting note from me here is, well, of course, like we mentioned, Matt Murray is going to be the starter in tonight's game, which is a little bit of a surprise. It gives Wall some extra time, who's also not on the ice. But Connor Timmins is back into the lineup tonight, and he's paired alongside Morgan Riley. We saw him take a couple, specifically a pretty bad penalty in last game. He hasn't been looking himself as of late. Darius, what are your thoughts on the, I guess, A, on them running the first line back, which kind of makes sense. You got to win. And B, some interesting defensive pairings or choices by Berube.
Yeah, I wonder if the keeping the first line together has more to do with the way that the rest of the lines played more than the first line, because I thought that the rest of the team played actually a pretty decent game and the game before that when they were put together. So give them one more chance here. They won against Dallas. Obviously, it wasn't the prettiest game. You have to rely on your goaltender a little bit too much, but give them another chance, see what you have. If it really doesn't work, then this might be the last straw, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow night against the Islanders. But pretty interesting on defense. Timmins coming back into the lineup. I did assume that that was going to happen, at least for one game this weekend. Gets in with Riley. I wonder what that's going to look like. Could be a bit of a tire fire. We'll see. And obviously, splitting up McCabe and Tanev, I think that's very interesting because I thought that they looked pretty good when they've played together so far this year. So he's just trying things, and I think that I appreciate that. I said that in a video we did just a couple days ago and the last stream that I can appreciate that Craig Berube is trying a bunch of different things because they're winning. He's trying to see exactly what he likes as we head towards the playoffs, because the Leafs have been a really good team in the regular season for years now, but I think he's just toying with things. What do I really like? What guys can I put in certain situations? So he's playing with things. They continue to win. No problem for that for me, and as long as it pays out and plays out in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Let us know below what your thoughts are. A very exciting game tonight with Matt Murray factoring in. Again, I expected it to be Saturday. It's going to be tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned and tune into the stream later tonight. Let us know down below what your thoughts are on all this information. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.